right.
We're now streaming on the Facebook, or according to Facebook. Um, it's gonna give us a second. Well, you look fabulous.
Well, so do you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. I put my showgirl lashes on for this. So I believe we're streaming live. Here we are. Oh, thank you all for your patience. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're in it. We're in it to win it.
Yes,
hello. Thank you, Dr. Clark. Hello. It's Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. Success Bully is an elite accountability practice, so that makes me your personal professional butt kicker. And we're jumping right in today. So I want to start off with a few announcements, and then we have a very special guest. If you have questions, please chat us. Monica and Cece are your personal concierges. I still can't get the lettering right. I know Cece's got the bottom part of the alphabet, and Monica's got the top part of the alphabet. If you need any support, any questions that you may have about our upcoming coaching, any questions about our upcoming challenges, reach out to your personal concierge. So hello to my team. We do want to flag for you that we have some big changes coming to this group, in the sense of we have been really inspired lately about our side hustlers and really supporting them in their transition from their full-time jobs into being full-time entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. So our next challenge, which is slated for December 14th, is going to be dedicated to our side hustlers. As a former side hustler that escaped corporate America, I'm very passionate about the gift of entrepreneurship. And I am pleased to say that in all the twists and turns, I've been very blessed. I didn't have to look for a job. I escaped from corporate and have been maintaining my freedom and working in my pajamas since then. So stay tuned. There are going to be some big announcements around where we're going and how we're going to support our side hustlers in the coming weeks and months. So get ready. All types of cool stuff. I like my necklace. It makes a lot of noise. And so now, the woman of the hour, I'd like to welcome Dr. Crystal Clark, who I'm going to read your bio, but I think it's important to remind everyone that I believe I met you and Gwenna the first week of college.
Yes.
The first week.
I got stories, Keita. I got stories, you know.
In 1997. The year of our Lord, we don't look a day over 27, but
absolutely not. No.
And one of the things that I have absolutely admired about Dr. Clark is, even as an 18-year-old, you were very focused and disciplined about what you wanted and how you were going to achieve it. And it was always inspiring to see you studying hard when I was not quite studying so hard.
I'll tell you about that motivation later, but go ahead.
So a quick bio on Dr. Clark. Dr. Crystal Clark is an associate professor of psychiatry and behavioral health sciences, and she has a secondary appointment in let me see if I can do this right. I'm trying not to cry because I'm all emotional. You have a secondary appointment in obstetrics and gynecology at Northwestern University, Feinberg School of Medicine, going all the way back to the Northwestern. She is board certified in adult psychiatry. Dr. Clark's expertise includes the treatment of mental health in women broadly across the lifespan, and specifically as it relates to the diagnosis and treatment of mood and anxiety disorders affected by hormonal changes during periods such as pregnancy, postpartum, and menopause. I feel like menopause is like lingering over here right now. Why is that?
No.
It's like, why is that? I don't know why it's over there. He's also the president of MARC of North America, an organization focused on advancing advocacy, clinical care, education, and research for childbearing women and their families. And what this bio does not say is that Dr. Clark is amazing. Okay, like, I am totally biased, but always a cool head. So I'm excited that we have a cool voice of reason during these crazy times. So outside of your bio, I want you to share a little bit about your background and what drives you, what motivates you.
Yeah, so, funny as you were, well, first let me say thank you for having me on. It's an honor. It's an honor to see you doing your thing. I'm so proud of you. So this is just a pleasure, and it's a pleasure to connect in this way. But what motivates me? So let me take that back. I was focused because my mother told me I needed to have a way to support myself when I got older. Okay. It was very simple. I got to
Like,
find a
make
way
sure you
to
can
get a
eat.
job.
Get a job.
Get a job. And she like, you know, this, she had ideas. And we'll get into that as to how I even became a doctor, but she had already planted some seeds. But what was motivating me, yeah, was really some practical stuff. Like, what can I do that I will enjoy doing long term, that I'm passionate about, that will challenge me. Even back then, I was thinking about things that I don't know why it's overrated as I've gotten older, but I was thinking like, I want something that's going to continuously challenge me and, you know, be different. And, you know, I'll continue to learn and grow. And it sounded really good back then. Now I'm like, okay, the challenge is, you know, I'm good.
I'm challenged.
I'm real good.
I'm challenged. Thank you.
So.
Thank you. I'm challenged. Oh, guess who's on? So say hello to Gigi and also say hello to Mrs. Gaynor. Oh,
hello. Hey, Gigi and Gwenna.
Okay, sorry. So now talk to us about, like, so you had this idea, and I love it when we're younger. We have the idea of what we want to be when we grow up, and so then you got in it. How did what you thought you were going to do shift when you were in medical school? How did it shift in residency? How did those shifts happen?
Yeah, so let me just step back for a second. So my mother planted a seed early on. She kept saying, "You're going to be a doctor. You're going to be a doctor," and I was, you know, I think it was just kind of living back there in the subconscious of my brain. She kept saying, "You're going to be a doctor." I was thinking about dance. She told me that I wouldn't have no food on my table if I did. I was thinking about fashion at one point. And somewhere along the way in high school, I was like, okay, I'm about to apply to college. What am I going to do? I have to declare a major. I declared my major in psychology, but somewhere in there, I started to take on this idea of, I'm going to be a doctor, right? I didn't fully take on that idea probably until I was praying to God, fourth year. I had been pre-med. I was going through all the challenges of that at Northwestern. Orgo, that took me out.
It was always the Orgo.
The Orgo about took me out. I was like, do I really want to do this? So at the point I was fourth year applying to medical school, I was still thinking, I don't know. Maybe there's something else. Maybe there's fashion. I was thinking about working with this woman in the boutique in Evanston. She was flying to Paris every year to get clothes. I was like, that sounds great. So I prayed, though. I had been applying to medical school. I was reaching high. You know, I applied to like Yale, a couple other Ivy League schools, and boomerang rejections came back. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like,
boomerang rejections, though?
Boomerang. They came right back. It was like,
they were real fast. It wasn't no waiting.
It didn't sit no time, just came back. So I prayed to God. Being a spiritual person that I am, I was like, let me know. I need a real clear indication of what I'm supposed to be doing, Lord. And you got to make it clear, because whispers don't work for me. I'd be like, what you say?
I need you to like send me a text message.
Yes, real clear. So I prayed to God, and I said, make it real clear. Am I meant to be a doctor? Is that what you want me to do? This is what I've been preparing for, but maybe I have a different path. And a week and a half, 2 weeks later, I got a very clear answer. I got a full ride to medical school. And I said, well, can't be any clearer than that. Thank you. So fast forwarding to your question, when I got to medical school, it was definitely confirmed for me that I was on the right path. Despite all the rigor and the other stresses of being in Kentucky, I went to University of Louisville. Despite the challenges of being there in the South, I enjoyed the rigor. I was nerdy, so in that regard, I enjoyed anatomy.
Not all of us.
Yeah, so I enjoyed all that. I enjoyed learning about these different things, biology, the cardiac system. So I was loving it, and was really excited about the next steps ahead. So so I think it solidified, getting into medical school solidified my passion for it, and really I began to own that trajectory and that path. And I was like, okay, Mom, maybe you did see something I didn't see of myself necessarily.
And so why did you choose your area of expertise? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I got in medical school, right? So So let me tell y'all, I wanted to be a surgeon first. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go to medical school. I'm going to be a surgeon. And I like surgery. I wasn't squeamish. I enjoyed anatomy, like I said, working on the cadavers and everything. So that was enjoyable to me. But they didn't talk to their patients. And I just didn't understand that. I said, okay, that's not working for me. So I did a psychiatry rotation, loved it. But I was like, okay, I was being told by some people, we won't name names, who goes to medical school to be a psychiatrist? A lot of stigma. So I was like, I don't know, I kind of like it, but let me try something else. And so I did OB-GYN, and I was like, man, I love this, but I will not get graphic with y'all today about some of the things I experienced in OB-GYN that I didn't want to have to experience again. And
you're good. You're good.
So but I still love the field. I thought it bridged the best of all worlds. It was primary care and surgery. But again, they were missing some major mental health components of the women because that just wasn't their training. So I went back and forth down to the wire. We do what we call a match system, where you have to rank the programs that you want to go to. You're only supposed to pick one specialty that you interview in. I interviewed in OB-GYN and psychiatry because I just could not decide between two. Again, a spiritual moment happened. Mm-hmm. I was going back and forth. I said, Lord, I don't know. I'm ranking both programs. You're not supposed to do that, but I was doing it anyway. I got OB here, I got psych, and I flipped. I'm like, psych, OB. I went to flip one more time, and the system froze. It was the night the application was due, and the system literally froze. And they told me, they had said, like, if you don't get your stuff in by a certain time, then you're out of the match. You just don't go on to residency. You're just stuck. You don't have a job. So when the system froze, I'm terrified. I couldn't.
All this work.
I'm like, it's over. All these years, it's all done. So, but when the system froze, my top choice was Johns Hopkins in Baltimore. And at that time, and they still ranked pretty high in the psychiatry programs. At that time, it was the #1 program in the country. And fast forward, next day, they're like, all right, you can't change anything, but we can lock whatever you had last so that you can at least enter the pool of people trying to get a job for residency. Fast forward, I got my top choice. I went to Johns Hopkins. So again, didn't look back. I was like, I absolutely loved my residency. Yeah.
I love that it was a frozen software issue.
Yes. It was like, and it wasn't even officially timed yet. It was just that so many people were probably on the system.
Waited to the last minute.
Yes. I'm going back and forth like, nah, maybe I should go. No, I just should decide. But when I got into my psychiatry residency, I found a way to bridge the two fields. It was really important for me to understand what was going on with the pregnant patients that we were treating and how to optimize their treatment. And Hopkins really helped to help me on that trajectory at that time. I was only one person interested in it, but since then, my attendings that I worked with back then continue to be some of my colleagues and people I collaborate with on grants and organizations. So it's been great.
And so tell us what's happened since. Bring us up to speed. What are you doing currently?
Oh, good gracious. Too much. Trying to find more time a day. You got more hours for me.
Possibly.
So today, currently I'm the president of Marseille of North America, which is a 500 plus membership organization representing Canada, US, and Mexico, supporting advocacy, education, clinical care, and research for perinatal women and their families. And I love this role. I'm going into my second year of my president tenure. And yeah, it's been awesome to really lead some initiatives and support women and their families in this way. But I'm also a co-director of our Women's Mental Health Fellowships, training people to do exactly what I do. I this year took on an assistant or associate program director at our residency. So I'm helping to trying to bring in that pipeline of more psychiatrists who will also hopefully work with women. And I do a little research, trying to optimize care for pregnant women with bipolar disorder, and I see patients. So, a little bit of everything.
When do you sleep, Dr. Clark? When do you sleep?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. So
let's talk about 2020.
Yes.
How has your vision shifted with all that's happened between, COVID-19, civil unrest, the election? How have your personal goals and your personal vision shifted?
Oh, thank you for asking that question, because 2020 has been, I've been doing some pivoting, and I've been doing some soul searching, I'll say, this year, partly because of the civil unrest and all that we know is going on with the Black community, but particularly what we know is going on with Black mothers and maternal health, as well as maternal mental health. We know that the disparities are large there. We're losing too many Black women to childbirth. Too many women are not even, of color particularly, are not even well screened for postpartum depression and other mental illness. And even if they are, they don't have the insurance often to provide them the resources, or they're scared to seek help. And that has led me to thinking a lot more about how can I affect change in my community. Historically, I have worked at, keeping it real, I've worked at majority white institutions, and not a problem there, but what I have found historically is that the Black women aren't reaching me because either A, they don't have insurance to see me, they don't know I'm there. Stigma, of course, is a big issue, but I said we got to change that. This is, I didn't take on this role to only help one population of women. So I've been being much more intentional about reaching out and making myself visible to let women of color, and particularly Black women, know that I'm out here and I want to help, and I want to improve care for them. So that has been, I've always been out here and wanting to do that, but I've been much more intentional in 2020.
And I'm so excited because, I know when you pop up in my Instagram feed, I'm like, oh, hey, Dr. Clark, hey, Dr. Clark. And so, it has been inspiring to know that I've always known you're brilliant, right? I know you're brilliant, and that you have not only have something to say, but you have all of the chops to back it up. There's so many folks that are talking heads, but you got it all. And so it's been inspiring to watch you kind of come out from behind the curtain and kind of stepping on out there oh, okay, I see you. So I'm excited to see as you build your platform and you build your footprint and you look to reach more people with very tangible and tactical advice. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you. And I'm so proud of you, because I know it's harder than it looks when you decide to step from behind the desk.
Absolutely. This has been a whole journey.
It's harder than it looks. It's harder than it looks. It's harder than
somebody should tell me that this is a whole other job.
Yeah, it's a whole other job. And wait until it really gets going and you start getting all the inbounds. And you're like, wait, I thought I had a lot of email before.
Right. Yes. I'm looking forward to it. But yes, this has been oh, okay, we're stepping out here. And that's, I encourage everybody in 2020 and as we move on through this pandemic to step out and try something new. Being on Instagram as I am right now is something new for me. It's been fun though.
I'm proud of you. So then what are some of the other ways that you're kind of tackling this big mission of reaching more, particularly Black women? What does that look like for you daily?
Oh, yes. Well, this is a great time, because I'm the president of a international organization. Okay. So I get to use this platform. And I've been using the platform pretty organically, but looking back and getting, I have patients and colleagues who reach out and say, thank you for, when George Floyd was killed, I put out all types of, notes about that, and people reached out and was like, oh, thank you for bringing attention to this. And I spoke about Black mothers then. And on a day-to-day, day to day, I'm really taking on more Black patients. Not that, again, not that I wasn't before, but they are actually reaching out saying, I want to see a Black provider. So, which is great. I make sure to get them in. I'm the person who, all the referrals through the Asher Center, which is at Northwestern where I work, all the referrals come through me. So it's great to be in that seat so I can make sure that I am facilitating those referrals so that they can get in and get the care they need. So since I'm one of the only Black psychiatrists and the only one who is focused in reproductive psychiatry at Northwestern, I am the person they see. So it's been great to be in that role. I need to clone myself, but it's been great to be in that role.
Well, like, I think that, and we talked about this in our prep call, just the idea of in 2020 still being the only.
Yeah.
That we have some work to do. We have some work to do. But,
but only the first, still the first in some regards. Yeah.
Yeah. But there are folks watching, and you're inspiring a generation behind you. So keep going, Dr. Clark. Keep going. Okay, let's talk about this anxiety thing.
Okay.
Wow, 2020. I don't know about you, but this whole election, and I don't want to get super political on the show, but like, just last week alone, and like all the things that 2020 has brought us, last week was like, I didn't know if it was the season finale or if it was the plot twist before the season finale.
Yes.
So we can all agree these are crazy times.
Yeah, so I think we're still going.
It's still happening. Still, 2020 is still going on. So, like, what are some of your tips for our group and our viewers when we have all of these things that are outside of our scope of control, and it's been back to back to back? What are some of your suggestions on coping, and at what point do you have to? Is it, here's some tips, but now it's time to get professional help? At what point do you recommend that they reach out?
Yeah. So yes. So we're all anxious. We started with the anxiety from the pandemic. Then we had the civil unrest. Then we, the climax was this election. And what I've been reminding people that, number one, it's okay not to be okay, because if you are okay during these times, then God bless you. Maybe you need to share with us what you're doing differently. But most people are, even if they don't recognize it, living in this constant state of anxiety, which is just not normal. And it is so important that we take time for self-care, to check out a little bit. Some people are working more than they have ever worked, despite being remote. Some people are also dealing with e-learning with kids at home and trying to do their full-time job. And not to mention, caretakers and things like that. So it is so important, even though people, when I tell my patients this, they're like, well, how am I going to find time? I'm like, no, it's like, it is part of the prescription. It's part of your prescription for mental health to find time for yourself, to take a walk, to check out, take a run, I don't know, take a nap, whatever you need to do, meditation, yoga, you have to take time for yourself. And
that's the prescription, y'all. Can we put that in the comments? That's the prescription to make time for self-care.
Yes, because there's no medication that I tell my patients all the time. There's no medication I'm going to be able to give you that's going to, was going to like cure you of what we're experiencing on a day-to-day basis. It's not going to cure you of 2020. So
there's no pill. We got another good quote. Your mic dropping right now. There's no pill to cure you for what we're experiencing in 2020. Yes. I had a very interesting conversation about this, that yes, 2020 has been full of twists and turns, and in a blink of an eye, the way that we live, work, connect, educate, everything has changed. Everything has changed.
Yes.
And then we're going through this really big change in leadership, right? Of the free world. And so but just because all of this stuff that's happening, it doesn't mean that there is an end in sight.
Yes.
So the economic turmoil, the and not to depress anyone who's, not to browbeat everyone with this,
Yeah.
but like,
Yeah.
we're not going to go back to this space of homostasis anytime soon. It's going to
Yeah.
be a new normal, whatever that
Yeah.
looks like. But there is good news. There's good news in all this. The one thing you can't change is yourself.
Absolutely. The one thing you can change is yourself. Yes.
Yourself and your perspective. I think that, and that's where like investing and getting the support you need. So like, if that is, making the time for self-care, taking that online yoga class, buying a pandemic puppy named Dante.
Yes. Yeah.
Dante the Sharpay, Dante Jermaine Williams, the Sharpay.
I was just about to say, did you buy a puppy?
Yes, I did. He's not barking, but he might show up. Dante likes to make special guest appearances on the live show. Yes, I did.
No, that's awesome. Exactly. No, that's exactly what you do. Or you try something new. You get a new hobby. You got to get creative, and you have to give yourself space to not be okay.
Oh yeah, and there's nothing wrong with not being okay. But like to the point of, the one thing that we can change is ourselves. And so whatever that looks like, that self-care, if it's a new hobby, if it's seeking out support from a psychiatrist or a therapist, if it is, investing in coaching, you will never let yourself down. You are your biggest investment. Like, you are your biggest asset. So like, invest in that self-care, invest in what you need. So then when do you think that, and I'm sorry if I missed this, because I got all jazzy pants. So at what point when we get to that, like when the anxiety becomes too much, at what point do you suggest people seek out professional help?
Now that was me. I got just
I went here and then I took you over here and then I started talking. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I do.
But no, seeking help is so important. It's important when the anxiety has gotten so bad it's affecting your ability to function on a day-to-day basis. So you can't focus as well. You're not sleeping as well. So now you're tired. Maybe it's affected your appetite. You don't want to either lose it completely or you're overeating because you're eating your emotions, so to speak. And that's when we're like, okay, a lot of times you're feeling anxiety all in your shoulders, your neck, having headaches. So now you're starting to have physical ailments. Anytime that's happening and it's sustained, okay, a couple of days, we all have good and bad days, but a couple of weeks, this is a problem. And if this is happening more days than not, even if you are having some good days, that's a problem. It's time to seek help. I wouldn't wait. I tell people, don't spend your time suffering. Life is too short. We need, if you're feeling that way, seek help and see if someone can help you feel better. It's nothing wrong with seeking help for mental health. I really think everyone should have an annual checkup anyway. You're gonna get a physical exam, check in on your mental health.
Oh, I like that. If you're gonna have a physical exam, check in on it.
Have a mental exam too. The brain's part of the body.
Oh, get into like from the rooter to the tutor. From the head to toe. You got it. So now I know that you have a very full plate. You have a very full plate, and as you stretch and grow in terms of your visibility and how you want to make a bigger impact in the community, how are you keeping all the balls in the air? How are you structuring your day and ruling your time?
I will tell you, it's definitely evolution.
It's a process.
So the latest strategy is that I'm reserving days for writing because, as I mentioned, I do research. So and publishing articles and things like that. So grant writing, which is actually today. Monday is usually the day for that. Of course, occasionally there's a patient who I will attend to on an emergent matter. But Mondays, I'm doing maybe a couple meetings, mostly writing. The rest of the week, I'm basically parsing out time for, managing the organization, but also the other hats that I wear. And I'm putting that on the calendar and making sure that it's clear that this is the time for me to address X, Y, and Z in the midst of meetings, even down to email, because email pinging all day long. I can't, you can easily get caught up in an email that needs to, has a to-do item. And then, 4 hours later, you been responding to all these emails, but you haven't got what you set out to do that day done.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't let, I actually learned this from my husband. I do not make, outside of patients, I do not let others, issues become my urgent matters or my emergencies, because that's what they're trying to do. And part of that is not being on my email, getting consumed by that. So yeah, setting out time basically for each of the things I need to do every day.
I love it. That's called time blocking. So I'm excited that you time block.
Yes. That is, yes, I did learn that term from you. Time blocking. Yes.
Time blocking. Well, like, I think it's so much easier to do. Like, if you lock in on writing, and that's what you're doing today, it's easier to stay in flow than to try to find little bits of writing time. And even we do this thing with my calendar. Like, I'm very the same way about email. Like, I have time in my calendar for outbound communication. That's where I reach out to people I want to talk to. And then I have time held in my calendar where I respond. Right.
Yes.
And so, because if it's really an emergency, they'll call me.
Right. Exactly. I can be paid.
They'll skip text message and they'll actually call.
Or a call. Now it might go spam. I don't know. But
and so, like, I'm proud that you, and it's going to be more important as you stretch and grow, that you keep that time blocking, because I think that it's really easy to get pulled in the direction of other people's priorities rather than staying true to what you're called to do.
Absolutely.
And you have a very big calling. You have a very big calling, so we can't have you distracted with email.
Absolutely. I have to stop doing that. I mean, and that, and sometimes that's unfortunate because, people are, I'm in a arena where the expectation is that you're going to respond immediately every day. And so it's like, oh, did you get my email? Thank God we were in the pandemic. And I mean, not because of what's been going on with the pandemic, but because I can work virtually. So no one's walking down my hallway saying, did you get my email that they sent 2 minutes ago?
So no one is rolling up on you.
No. I'm like, so I can actually do this time blocking. But that's why 5 days of focus is so important. That's why, I joined. I was like, I need a refresher. I think every now and then we need a refresher. What do I need to do? How do I time block? How do I focus?
I love it. So do you think that when the world comes back online, I'm using this, do you want to go back to like in person, or do you want to keep doing everything virtually? What's your preference?
I'm like, can I answer that honestly? No.
I'll give you my honest answer. I like this.
I do too. I definitely think there's room for me to see some patients in person. I would love to see some patients in person again, but for the most part, I'm good. Got my office set up.
I got light rings. It's cozy, And I also think that there's something to be said about efficiency. Like, I don't know about you, but like I was on the road a lot before this, and so like, being home and like being able to do everything I love without the strain on my body from the traveling and the strain on like I was having to go on vocal rest and whatnot.
I can see
we'll talk about that wild stuff later. We'll talk about that's a cocktail conversation. But yeah, so like I kind of like it,
I really have been fine. I didn't even have that long of a commute, but I've been really fine.
I have no excuse.
Right. Just you can get up and just get to working, if depending on what you're doing that day, take my quick shower, whatever. I feel like I save so much time now. Somehow in the pandemic, still the days have gotten longer. I'm like, how did we manage to get more work going? But but still, I still feel like it's
turn off the computer, Dr. Clark. Just turn it off. Just turn it off. Turn it off at 5. Turn it off. You're good.
I'm just gonna turn off the computer. But yes, no, I think it's more efficient. Absolutely, it's really, and no distractions. I'm just in my zone. Do what I gotta do. A few too many Zoom meetings. I could do a few less of those. But
my favorite thing that happened on a Zoom call was someone asked, "What's the least interesting thing about you?"
Okay.
And the whole Zoom call like went off the rails because people were sharing what was uninteresting about them. And I thought it was such a funny question where we're like, oh yeah, what is the least interesting thing about me?
Okay.
And I'm like, how would I answer that?
That's an interesting question.
Like,
Yeah.
what's uninteresting about me? I got 10 fingers. Like, what is, like, everyone does for the most part. So we do have a question. Hold on. We got
Okay.
questions coming in live. I'm getting live chats. Hold on. This
All
one,
right.
are you ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Hold on. This is from Brittany Wheeler. Stand up, Brittany. I have a passion for educating women of color on maternity support to help with pain associated with pregnancy. What tips would you give? What tips would you give to reach more women of color? That's from Brittany Wheeler, Rose Maternity. She's
Well, thank you, Brittany, for the question. So, and please expound if I don't answer this exactly what you're thinking about. But in terms of Black women in general, when it comes to whether it's pain or whatever complications or discomfort, something's not right, they don't feel right, advocate, advocate, advocate. And what and if you can't advocate for yourself, get a sister, a friend, somebody to tell them to get somebody to speak for them and help stand up for them. So that's asking questions, that's going back, that's saying, hey, no, it's still not better. I still don't feel better. Do not let up until you get the help you need.
Okay. Brittany, did that answer your question? I think, okay, I'm going to give a second. Okay, so while we're waiting on the delay here, lightning round, random question about nothing.
Yeah.
What are you currently reading?
Oh, shoot.
It's not an academic journal.
No, it's not. So I honestly, I'm not reading nothing today, but I just ordered The Power of Now.
Oh, that's a good dusting off an oldie but a goodie. Get into it.
Yes, I was like, I need to read The Power of Now. I like books like that. Like I posted about The Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes, and I love stuff like that. Kind of that self-help, inspirational, yeah. So
okay, so I'm gonna follow up with you on your thoughts about The Power of Now.
Okay.
It definitely it's on my nightstand. It's one of those that I like pick up and like revisit quite a bit. Yes. I can't wait. Okay, so other question. Can't wait to harass you about it. So we also talk about the double-edged sword of being brilliant. Mm-hmm. And so what I mean by the double-edged sword of being brilliant is that when you are brilliant, you never run out of ideas. You never run out of ideas. There's always some shiny object. There's always something. There's always this. There's always that. So, like, how do you manage your brilliance? What are your tips there?
Ooh, I'm like, these.
I guess a good question.
Can I get the 5 days of focus for that?
Well, I have this running joke with one of my clients that like people are out here winning because they know how to do one thing.
I have had to learn to rein myself in, and that is also an ongoing evolution. So to rein myself in to make sure that I am staying true to my goals. Because I like a lot of things. I like a lot of things as it relates to my profession. I mean, I could be doing forensics. I like, I love working with the medicine, psychiatry intersection beyond OB-GYN, substance abuse. I mean, I like it all. So I have to remind myself, what is the goal now? Like what are we working on today, this year, this month, this quarter, whatever. And just try to stay focused on that. And sometimes I'm doing great at that, and other times I have to reset.
Oh, yes.
I'm like, how did I end up on 5 other committees? Okay, let's bring that back in.
I raised my hand again. I did that thing.
So I've learned to say no. I've gotten much better at that. Just because after so many nights of sleep deprivation at this age, you're like, I can't. I actually can't. We don't bounce back. Actually, I can't stay awake. Coffee don't even help. It's not working. So
Listen, 9:30. I'm in bed.
yes. So it's working on the here and the now. What are we working on now? Saying no to those things that are not feeding that, and yeah, and knowing that other opportunities will come again, and it's okay. We can't do all things at once, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about you don't have to be superwoman.
Yes.
You don't have to be superwoman.
Yeah.
And like I had to do something similar this year. I want to say it was like early summer where I had to do some plate clearing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where we're like, okay, like I do not have space for this. This does not serve me. This does not serve the big vision. Right. Like I have to be a CEO. I haven't given myself a CEO title yet, but like I had to clear some plates.
Come on.
And clear some plates. I got to hit a benchmark and then I get a promotion. And so like kind of clearing the plate so that I could step into this next phase of things. Yeah. Right. And yeah. So I think it's so important that, we keep our goals in front of us, that we are tracking them closely and be willing to say no, but also like, I kind of advise my clients on the idea of having a world domination notebook.
Yeah.
That when you get these ideas, there's nothing wrong with them, embrace them, but write it down, lots of color and detail, how you'd execute on it, and close the notebook.
Oh, wait. I got one. I got to pull mine out. Wait.
Oh, there you go.
New book, okay.
I love that it was right there. I love that it was right there. Okay, we have one more. We have one more question. Hold, please. And this one is from the incomparable Gigi Lucas, also known as Gwenna to us from the 90s.
Hey, Gwenna Gigi. No.
What are some virtual resources for mental wellness for Black women that you recommend?
So that's a great question. I would recommend Therapy for Black Girls. That'd be the main one. Taraji P. Henson has her website out. I know she's coming out with new stuff all the time. I haven't checked it recently, but I would check there. Those would be, the main two.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So now we're getting ready to land the plane. So I'm going to check one more time, see if there's any other questions. But what is, like, if you had to leave us with one golden nugget, one little nugget that you want us to put in our pockets and carry around with us, what is that piece of advice you would like to give this community?
Yeah, so, okay, I don't know if I got one. I got three.
Okay, wait, it's a 3 point. You know how I love 3 points. Y'all know how I love 3 points. Give us a point one.
So I would first say bet on yourself. There would be naysayers. There would be people who don't understand your vision. So bet on yourself. Do what feeds your soul. Because and that goes back to, when I'm planning and I'm thinking about what to do next and what opportunities to take, is it feeding my soul? And the last one is set standards for the goals you want to achieve. I definitely, the goals when I'm seeking a particular goal and aiming for it, I have certain standards around it. And I think it's important to stay true to your standards. So those are my three: better yourself, feed your soul, and set standards.
Okay, now if you're just tuning in, that was a mic drop moment. I believe you got some free coaching from Dr. Clark. That just rocked my entire world. So where can we find you? Where can we find you? How do we connect?
So you can find me on IG at Dr. Crystal Listens. You can also find me on Twitter at Dr. Crystal Clark MD. And you can also find me on Facebook, also Dr. Crystal Listens. And you can find me at Northwestern. You need some care, come my way to the Asher Center.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Clark. This was so awesome. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for letting your light shine. I think it's so important that, when we have a gift, it is not ours to keep to ourselves. It is what we're supposed to use to impact the world. And so I am grateful that you are using your time, treasure, and talents to make the world a better place. So thank you, Dr. Clark. Once again, I am Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully. We are an elite accountability practice. Come on back. We're doing these weekly shows live, and we're going to have an amazing guest. We have some really cool stuff coming up for all of our side hustlers. So if you are looking to escape corporate, if you're looking to map out your corporate escape route, follow us. Pay attention. We got a lot of cool stuff that we're going to be launching in the coming weeks. And so, yes, there are a lot of go back and check the comments, Dr. Clark, because you got some cheerleading going on in the comments.
Okay.
So thank you. Hang on the line, Dr. Clark. I'm going to do all the clicking of the buttons and stuff.
Okay. All right.
So again, let's get after it. Let your light shine. Bet on yourself. Do what feeds your soul, and set those standards around the goals you want to achieve. And we'll see you back here next week. Pay attention in the group. Lots of cool stuff going on. I am Keita Williams, founder and chief strategist of Success Bully.
Bye.